Hi, David here, and welcome back to the channel, where we're looking at life in spirit through the automatic writings of early 20th century medium James Padgett. I mentioned in the last Life in Spirit video, 221, that today's video will be the first in a new series looking at messages from people who had no earthly connection to James Padgett. It will include some so-called dark spirits who were struggling with their personal legacy and who come to James seeking a way forward. It will also include messages from spirit guides James only came to know of through his automatic writing, along with others who want to express what they have learned since passing to spirit, or to correct what they thought or taught while they were living their earth lives, and so on. So this series will be a bit of a mixed bag, and some of the messages we look at will be quite challenging. But I'm going to start with one from a spirit guide to a medium, whose duties mean that she spends much of her time working with people in spirit who still have a focus on worldly matters, or who are seeking to communicate with people in this world whose perspectives are often focused on earthly concerns, which can be difficult to avoid while we're here. There's a long tradition within spiritualism of spirit guides of First Nation North American background, such as Estelle Roberts' guide, Red Cloud. This is something you also see in early Shaker practices back in the 1820s and 1830s. So it's a tradition that predates modern spiritualism, which got going in the late 1840s. In this video, we're going to look at a message James Padgett received on September 24, 1914, from a spirit guide called Bright Star. So this is one of the early messages that James Padgett received, and it is a little disjointed because James has obviously been interrupting with questions, which he tends to do more often in the earlier messages when he was still trying to get his head around what was happening. James was first introduced to Bright Star at a séance he attended, where Bright Star's medium was the one working. It's a fascinating message because Bright Star speaks of how it helps her spiritually to listen in on some of the messages James receives through his automatic writing, and to be around some of the people in spirit who are guiding him. You'll see why that is from the message itself, and it's not because Bright Star herself is yet to progress spiritually. This message can be found in volume 3, page 18 of the original Padgett volumes, and page 94 of Alan Ross's New Testament of Spiritualism, which contains the selection of messages I'm using for these videos, together with a few others added for good luck. Links to those publications are given in the video description and on the channel homepage. So let's get into Bright Star's message to James. It begins as though James and Bright Star were picking up on what was said at the séance where James was introduced to her. It's not so common these days, but some mediums giving demonstrations of mediumship explain who their guides are, or even allow them to come forward, depending upon the nature of the demonstration. It sounds from the message as though Bright Star has assisted in enabling a message to James from his wife, Helen, whose passing to spirit was the prompt for him to become interested in mediumship. Bright Star begins by announcing herself. I am here, Bright Star. So, picture James recognizing the name and saying how much better he felt after the message from Helen that he received at the séance with Bright Star's help. Bright Star replies, "Yes, I know. I saw and felt that your love for your wife was so great and so pure that I felt better too. You certainly do love her, and she loves you even more, for her love is something that I have never seen surpassed. She is such a beautiful and sweet spirit that we all love her. So you must feel that you are more blessed than most men." There's a question from James at this point, perhaps as to whether Bright Star is happy to be able to communicate. She continues, "I am very happy, but I would like to talk to you more often than I do, as you help me so much when I come to you, for you love me as a true brother, and realize that I am not a mere Indian squaw, but a spirit of light and truth, having been redeemed by the love of God. Oh, my dear brother, if you only knew how I love to hear of spiritual things of my Father, and not of those things that I have to listen to so much, you would think of me more often and give me many thoughts that would help me in my work." Now, why might Bright Star say this? Much mediumship, by which I mean true communication from spirit, is taken up with demonstrating personal survival beyond physical death. This can mean that communications are biased towards spirit communicators whom the recipients of a message can identify, and messages which confirm the identity and personality of the communicator as they were known when they were here. This is not often a particularly good opportunity for higher spiritual truths to be discussed and explained, because when the focus is on identifying known individuals from their earthly lives, the emphasis is on the medium accurately stating ordinary, everyday, often very mundane details of someone's appearance or daily life. Because of the nature of those details, the messages themselves can seem very ordinary and underwhelming, even though what they are demonstrating is such an important truth about personal survival and continuing love. It seems that even spirit guides who know the importance of this work can feel the lack of more spiritual conversation. Bright Star says, "I am not one to complain, but I am also one who loves the beautiful thoughts that tell of God's love and the love of the Master and of the spirits of the higher planes. So you see, you are the only one in all the earth who knows what I am in my spiritual nature. So think of me sometimes, and especially in your prayers." So here we have Bright Star telling James that because he is beginning to learn about divine love and some of the higher truths of spirit, it will encourage her if he can find time to think of her and include her in his prayers. Because of the nature of the truths that James is contemplating and the extent to which his thoughts are increasingly thoughts of both natural human love and of divine love, there is a source of support here for a Bright Star that can supplement her work with her own medium. James obviously affirms that he has prayed for Bright Star sometimes because she acknowledges this, saying, "Yes, I know you do pray for me sometimes, and I am so grateful, for they help me." At this point, James seems to ask whether Bright Star hears his thoughts, if he might hear her speak, and whether this might be a way of communicating. Because she says, "Yes, I do, and if you will only sit in the dark for a little while, I believe that we will be able to talk as you suggest." I will certainly try my best, and I know that your wife and father will, and so will White Eagle, who is such a powerful spirit that we should not have any great difficulty in establishing the rapport necessary. So try tonight after you stop writing, and maybe some result will follow. So this is an early hint that James might have the potential for direct voice, although he appears to respond by saying how much he values the automatic writing he has started doing. Bright Star replies, "Yes, I know, and it is a wonderful thing to us all. We do not understand it, but see that it is so. You are certainly blessed, and you must do your work with all your strength and ability. I will try all that I know how to help you. You are not so very behind some of our spirits who are very near the kingdom in your love for God, and I believe that if you continue to receive that love, you will have a most wonderful influence with God and also with men. The Master certainly loves you, and you are his favourite one to do his work, so believe implicitly. Be my true brother, and love me as such, for your love is true, as I can see." So although Bright Star's earthly background might seem quite different from Padgett's own broadly Protestant Christian background, she is clearly aware of the teachings of the Master, Jesus, that he communicates through James, and of where in spirit the kingdom refers to, and what divine love is, as distinct from natural human love. In short, she is an advanced spirit. Bright Star tells James that although her workplace is very close to the earth plane, her home is in a higher spiritual sphere, saying, "Yes, you can pray for me, as I have said, and give me your best thoughts. I want to get closer to God and his heaven of love, even though I have to spend so much time in the earth plane. But thank God, my duties will soon be over in that respect. And then I can live much more in my home higher up, where your mother lives. She is a lovely and pure spirit, and is filled with God's love. So try to be like her, and you will be very happy. Tell Mr. Colburn that I was at his house last night at about 6 o'clock, and tried to impress him with my presence, but I could not. He is one who is very dear to me, and I want him to seek for the love too, so tell him. And when you go to his house again, try to get the voices, for I believe that they will soon come to you all." So we get a hint as to where James attended the séance at which he was introduced to Bright Star, and we see her encouraging James to share his knowledge of divine love with Mr. Colburn, in whose home the séance was held. Bright Star responds to a question from James, saying, "Yes, I do. Your father was there and called his name. And Mr. Colburn answered, and your father told him that your Uncle William wanted to give you a message. Your father was actually there also. They do not have to come there to talk to you. What can compare with the way they do talk to you? You are one of the most favoured persons that I know in the way of receiving communications." Here, Bright Star refers to the automatic writing that James has started doing, and how wonderful it is. She continues, "The independent voices do not convey such messages as you get, and cannot, for even if the spirits speaking could talk in a way that those who communicate with you write, yet there would not be power sufficient to support such extended communications. I would rather have the power of automatic writing, as it is called, than any I know of." So it's possible that Bright Star is alluding to the fact that with his automatic writing, Padgett spirit communicators have a freedom to speak of spiritual matters that they might not have in a regular seance. Bright Star acknowledges that, saying, yes, we can say some comforting things, but we cannot have long communications. The other point Bright Star makes is that longer messages are possible through automatic writing because it takes less energy. Bright Star's next comment is her response to James asking whether the medium can be relied upon. Keep in mind that at this stage, he is still in the process of accepting that the communications he receives are real. Whether it's the content of his automatic writings or the message he received through Bright Star's medium. Bright Star replies, yes, she is an honest medium, or I would not sit with her, so you may rest assured of that. James is clearly grateful for this confirmation, telling Bright Star that he loves her as a sister. She replies, you do love me as much, and your prayer has filled my soul with happiness. So I must go, but I will come again soon and say good night. Your loving sister, Bright Star. So this is one of the early messages that James received that enabled him to move beyond simply wanting proof of survival of his wife Helen and other people he knew, so that he could begin accepting and trusting the content of messages from others in spirit. This is a step he needs to take if the messages from more highly developed spirits are to be received and shared. In messages such as this one from Bright Star, we can see a lot of background work going on to build up the bigger picture for James, expanding his network of relationships with people in spirit, so as to open the door to the kind of communications that we look at in Series 10 on this channel, and which we will look at in Series 11 and 12. So although this Series 3 is called Strangers, some of them are very definitely people who might start out as strangers, James, but who become well known to him. The next video in this Strangers series will be video 3.2, which will look at a message from White Eagle, who is another spirit guide and who was mentioned in the message we looked at today. It's an interesting message about spiritual healing, and that was very much the focus of White Eagle's work. The next video in the Divine Love series will be video 1022, where we'll be looking at two messages, one from Jesus on December 2, 1915, and the other from St. Paul, given just a few days later on December 5, 1915. The one from Jesus is short and to the point. The one from Paul is a little longer and tells of the spiritual experiences he had and which changed his attitude towards Jesus' followers. So I hope you'll find time to join me for one or both of those. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, please do take a moment to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and that does help to introduce the material to others. And do feel free to share your thoughts and responses to the video on the channel. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. And take care until then. Bye-bye.